So I think I'll start with one of my smaller coils. And when I put them in the bowl, I do want to try to kind of press them against what's in there. I don't want to put them in loosely. What I'm wanting you to see though is that as I put them in, this plastic is going to kind of move around. I could take a tie and kind of tie this off, but it takes a little bit too much time. So I just kind of have to work with it. As I pick up this coil, it starts to come loose. It's okay, just put it back in place. And the key here is if you work quickly and you work from one side to the next, it will start to balance itself out. Just as you put it in, start to put it in kind of, I think I'm going to turn this one this way. I really did not want it quite that symmetrical. It's a little bit more symmetrical than what I wanted. So I'm going to move this one over and make a real big one right here and another big one here. I did not want this to look real symmetrical. I wanted some big and some small. So I'm going to set that aside now. I'm hoping you can kind of see what it's looking like so far. So I'll start with my next coil. I'm going to cut this one down a bit. And hopefully this one will turn out to be kind of big. And maybe not quite as big as I wanted it to be, so I'll try one more. And I will roll this one just a little bit thinner. I'm actually wanting them to be a little bit thicker than a pencil. Now, so that I can make sure I get it big enough, before I cut it, I'm going to start coiling this one. Because I really want one that's going to be larger. There we go. Now if that's too big, I can always cut it down once I get it in there. So now I've got more of that asymmetrical look I wanted. I'm going to put this one here and kind of a medium size right here. Now sometimes you get to this place where you've got a space that's a little bit too small for a piece. So when that's the case, sometimes I'll turn them on the side and just kind of squish one together to make it fit. Like that. It's okay because this is an asymmetrical design. So I'm hoping you can see the inside, what it's starting to look like. And I keep pulling this plastic bag kind of tight so that it'll fit in there flat. Nothing is pushed together yet. And I also have to keep pushing it down so that it stays fairly centered. Now, to keep up with that asymmetrical look, I'm going to add another coil. This time it's going to just kind of loop around the design that's there. So I'm going to start. Actually, I'm going to angle this first. And I'm going to angle the opposite side. Now, this is kind of hard to show, but I'm going to just kind of loop it around, connecting it with the coils that are there. Just for a little added design. I'm kind of making up the design as I go. I'll take my next coil. Trim the edges just a little bit. And I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to connect these two pieces, kind of push it down, and I'm following the design of the coils all the way around. And it ends up right here. So I'm going to trim this off and then put it back down. And as I do that, at each step, I have to make sure that my center stays centered, because this plastic bag, like I said, will keep moving around. Now, as you can see, I have space left over at the top, and so for the rest of my space, I'm going to be making little marble shapes and just filling them in with kind of an uneven, kind of an abstract edge. I'm also going to take marbles and fill in all those little spaces. I don't want to leave them open, because by leaving them open, they will start to get fragile. Now, another thing I can do at this stage, now that I've gone all the way around the bowl, is I can start to press these pieces together just slightly. I'm not pressing down real hard, but just enough to give them a little bit of a connection. And it will begin to start to hold its shape. I've used my fingers and my thumbs, pressing. I'll eventually lose the entire design on the inside, but the design will stay on the outside. Now here's my design so far. I'm going to kind of twirl it around so you can see. And I'm always looking down, straight down on it, so I can see if it's centered.